A double closing is a real estate transaction in which you, as the investor or wholesaler, buy a property and then sell it to another buyer in the same day. Sometimes within a matter of hours, sometimes even minutes. Now, a double close is a really helpful strategy to help you facilitate deals without using any of your funds, and can be super helpful in other real estate scenarios that we're going to talk about in this video. Top of the top, everybody. It's your boy Show tapping in, and today we're talking about double closings. What are they? Why do they matter? And why you need to know how to put one in place. A double closing is exactly what it sounds like, all right? That means you close on a property twice, back to back, all right? So I'm going to give y'all a scenario. So for me, as a wholesaler, we use double closings when our assignment fee is a lot, all right? If our assignment fee is going to be $30,000 plus, we're going to do a double closing because that's going to make sure that the seller nor the buyer see our assignment fee, okay? So that way that keeps the seller and or the buyer from knowing exactly how much my company makes on the assignment fee. Now, sometimes this is not necessary, but when we're wholesaling deals to new buyers who may or may not be comfortable with us making $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000 on a wholesale transaction, then we're just going to go ahead and double close on it. And so the way we do that is when we get a purchase and sale agreement signed by a seller, the property owner, right? And then we go and find an end buyer for the deal. We do not assign our contract to the end buyer. Instead, we put another purchase and sale agreement in place for the end buyer. So instead of an assignment, we have the end buyer sign a purchase and sale agreement with us listed as the seller and them listed as the buyer. And the reason we're able to do this is because title company is going to line up the closing on the exact same day, exact same time, and then they're going to do two transactions. So the first transaction that they're going to do is going to be my company buying the property from the original seller or original property owner, okay? And they're going to use my end buyer's money to facilitate that transaction. And then at the same time, they're going to turn around and facilitate the deal between me and the end buyer, okay? So there's going to be a deed of trust created in my company name. The property is going to be conveyed to my company legally, and then my company is going to sell and deed over the property to the end buyer. It's two different transactions, and that's the biggest difference, okay? Because if we were assigning the deal, then I would get the contract from the original seller. I would then assign my rights to purchase the property to the end buyer, and that whole transaction would be one deal, okay? So from the original seller to the end buyer, and then I would just get paid an assignment fee in the middle. There would only be one closing necessary if I were assigning the deal. But since we're talking about a double closing, there are two closings, two separate transactions, all right? And that is the main difference here, guys. The pros of a double closing are that, like I said, the buyer and seller cannot see how much you are making on assignment. Also, you get to do that transaction without using any of your money up front because, again, the title company is going to use the end buyer's funds to fund the first transaction and then the second one. All right, so you never have to come out of pocket for anything. Now, the cons of a double closing are you are going to lose some of your assignment fee in closing cost, all right? Because from that first transaction, from the seller to you, even though title company is going to use the buyer's funds, you are going to have to pay the closing costs associated with that transaction. Now, it's not going to come out of your pocket, but it will ultimately come out of your assignment fee after that transaction is completed, all right? So let's say your original assignment fee, if you assign the deal, would be $30,000. But since you're doing a double closing and you now have to pay closing costs, then closing costs might be $1,800 to $2,500. So instead of $30,000 assignment fee, when it's all said and done, if closing cost is $2,500, then you're going to get $27,500, all right? Again, you don't have to pay that out of pocket. It will come out of the assignment fee through the transaction, but you do have to pay to do a double closing. Now, even though that might sound a little bit complicated, it's actually fairly easy. So if you're already working with an investor-friendly title company, chances are they do double closings, but that is not guaranteed. So you always want to ask your title company before you submit that deal, do they do double closings? Because that can help you in a scenario, again, where your assignment fee is really high and you don't want to scare off the seller by them finding out you're making $30,000 on this deal, and you don't want to scare away your buyer or have your buyer back out of the deal or try to negotiate you down because they know now that you're making $30,000. Now, some buyers don't care. Those are the buyers that we love. But some buyers do, and they might try to hate on you. So a double closing is necessary sometimes. I suggest you do a double closing. If your assignment fee is going to be $30,000 plus, that's how we do it. Also, in some cases, if your assignment fee is more than 30% of the purchase price, then the title company will make you reveal what your assignment fee is. That is also another instance in where you will want to do a double closing so you do not have to disclose how much you are making on your assignment. And here's a real life example where that situation happened to us. Now, we picked up this house for $40,000 cash. Yes, we were able to buy a house for $40,000, but it was in horrible condition. It was actually a tear down. So that's why we were able to negotiate and pick up the property for land value. That's why you got to work on them sales skills, my friend. But we were able to find a buyer who was interested in picking up this property at $77,000. All right. So our purchase price was $40,000. We were going to make $37,000 on assignment, almost 100% of the purchase price. We were also going to make on assignment. And so therefore we were going to have to disclose our assignment fee. And of course, what buyer is going to accept $40,000 for the property when they know they could have got double that amount? So we chose to do a double closing. And this is what that looked like. Purchase price $40,000, end buyer purchase price $77,000, leaving an assignment fee of $37,000. But we double closed on this. Instead of doing an assignment to our end buyer, we did a separate purchase and sale agreement, and we paid about $1,500 in closing costs. When it was all said and done, we took away $35,828 after the double close. So you can see, by doing a double closing, we lost about $1,500 in profit, but everybody was happy. The seller was happy to get the $40,000. The buyer was happy to get this property at $77,000. And of course, we were happy to make $35,000 in the middle, y'all. Well, that's all I got for y'all today. Hopefully y'all learned something today about double closings. If I brought you any value at all, go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Hit that little bell so you can get notifications every time I drop real estate gems just like this one. Until next time, y'all, I'm Real Estate Show. I'm on a path to empower entrepreneurs, investors, and anybody on a path to financial freedom. One video at a time, y'all. Tap in.